loves. Um, so this was kind of interesting. This is the third set of cards that I've gotten. If you've been following for a while, you know me in accepting repeated readings. I have a bit of a hard time with it, especially when, you know, it's the third time they're repeating the same cards. So she had given me the same cards as yesterday, except for the Chariot the first time around, and I said, can we please have a new message? Can we please get more information, if you will? And then she kind of chuckled at me and then gave me the other set of cards that we have gotten before yesterday's reading. So yeah, no, it had like the Three of Cups and the Six of Cups, and you know, those both of them looked like they were going to be quite positive, but again, very repetitive. And I have a hard time with that, especially when I feel that maybe the message has already drilled into our heads and maybe we need to just move on. And what does she do? Well, yeah, then she gives me the Devil card and the Tower. So take this with a grain of salt, because I think it's more a slap in the face for me more than anything else. But there is a message there, so I'm gonna go ahead and read it for y'all. So with the Devil, she is pointing at the light. If you can see the card, I don't know if you can see it well enough, but this one has a dragon, and actually it has kind of a gold and bluish black scales. And what it represents really is the duality between your shadow self and your light self, between what you present to the world and what you keep hidden from the world. And she is saying, how's that balance working out for you? This is very much a call to do some shadow work. She has been talking about boundaries. She has been talking about setting your foot down and really, you know, shedding some of the people in your life that, as we said yesterday, may not have your best interests at heart. Well, you know, that also comes with a lot of introspection. It comes with a lot of shadow work and kind of working on the parts of ourselves that also make us afraid, right? What parts do we hide from the world because we think that they are not as palatable? Maybe we think that they are not going to be accepted as we would like them to be. But what she's saying is, if you don't accept yourself as you are, you're never gonna move forward, is what she just said. So it is time for you to truly present yourself as you are. And if there are things that you need to work on, by all means, work on them. She's not saying that, you know, we're all perfect and that everything's great and shiny and polished, because that is not reality. That is not the truth. It's not the truth for any of us. So don't feel like you're alone. Like, all of us have things to work on. You know, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. That is for darn sure. So what she's saying is, if you have some of those aspects that you need to work on, especially while we're still in retrograde, she's inviting you to kind of take a deep dive. Words are hard today. Take a deep dive and really kind of, she said, go spelunking into your shadow self, and then sit down with your demons or dragons, or, you know, whatever you want to call them, and just have a chat, figure out, you know, where you work, what things you need to work on, and what things have you been suppressing for fear. And she's saying there's a lot of you that is not being shown to the world that is absolutely beautiful, and that it should be shared with the world. And just because somebody hurt you early on and said that those parts were ugly and that you shouldn't show them to the world because of their own insecurities, that was all projection. And she's saying, please stop. That's not you. That was never you. And that is not your burden to carry anymore. So just let go of that hurt, let go of the negativity, and present yourself as you are, because you will never know how far you can reach until you are actually who you were meant to be. And then she kind of points to the Tower, and she's saying, yeah, the Tower, you know, it's a card that scares a lot of people. because yes, it can represent upheaval, it could represent the crumbling of what you thought you knew, and she's saying you need it right now. You need to let go. You need that shedding, and especially, and it's very interesting to me that this is right now when we're about to go into, at least here in the States, we're gonna go into Thanksgiving, and that is notoriously one of the times where a lot of families pretend to like each other when maybe that may not be the case. So if you have difficult people in your life that you're gonna be spending this holiday with, she's saying don't be afraid to break things. Not literally, I'm not advocating for you guys to start, throwing grandma's china around by any means, but what she is saying is if you need to break bonds that are only by blood, remember the saying, and remember that it was a bastardization. Remember that blood is thicker than water, meaning the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Just because they're your biological family doesn't mean that they need to stay in your life. It is not mandatory, and especially not if they're harmful to you by any means. Please, there's a lot of division right now, and now there's a lot of voices saying, oh, we need to be more tolerant and this and that. Yeah, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. And don't forget yesterday's card saying that you need to keep your boundaries and you need to enforce them and you need to stay true to yourself. It does not do, and it will not help you any, to bend and be quiet and silenced by those voices that are hateful and that don't have your best interest at heart. And she's saying if you need to have a Friendsgiving, then have a Friendsgiving. Your chosen family is, and I do realize she's getting a little ahead of herself because, it's a day early, but I think it's actually, some people are actually already traveling there, so I guess it makes sense. But she's saying, the people that you choose in your life, those are what true family really is all about. The people that don't have to be there. They don't have any kind of blood obligation to be in your sphere, and yet they choose to because they love you, because they care about you, because they want to be there with you and share these moments with you. And these are the people that really matter. So, she's saying, first of all, obviously work on things, because you don't want to be that person at the table either, right? You don't want to be that person that is causing the problems for somebody else by not being accepting or loving. Again, there are things that, if it's just a difference of opinion or anything else, it's one thing. We're not talking about having to let go of your fundamental values by any stretch. So, yes, make sure that you do sit with your own shortcomings, and that you do some good introspection before you're placed in that position, but don't be afraid to set your foot down. Just put your foot down and say, no more. I will not tolerate this kind of behavior, this kind of speech, this hatred, or whatever else is coming your way. You are well within your rights to set that boundary and enforce it. And if somebody's trying to gaslight you to make you feel like you're ruining the holidays, too bad, so sad. That's what she's just said. Too bad, so sad. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your heart, and you should not have to suffer and make yourself smaller and make yourself invisible, even just to make everybody else around you comfortable. That is not your job. That is not your responsibility. And by all means, she's saying, don't do it. I could keep talking. She's still going, but I'm afraid it's going to be way too long. So if you do have any questions, any clarification, please let me know. That is something that I'm always willing to do, even if it's a one-on-one basis. So please know that that's an offering that I do have. Don't ask me to do a full reading for you for free, because obviously this is still my business. But if you just need a little more clarification on a daily read that I do, and you just want to message me privately and say, hey, I have this going on, like, what are you getting based on those cards. I would be willing to do that for you, so please don't be shy. And yeah, I hope that if you're already with your loved ones, I do hope that you have a loving, inclusive, warm family, or you know, you're having a Friendsgiving, whatever it is, and I do wish you a lot of comfort and happiness. And if that's not the case, just remember you're not alone. You have your tribe behind you, and we'll be here if you need to talk. All right, loves, that's it for today. I am thinking that I will do tomorrow will have some healing in it. It will be more like the first one, so a lengthier one. I figured it might either be a total flop because everybody's with family and friends, or you might enjoy it because you have the day off. So we'll see. All right, loves. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and stay tuned. Much love. Bye.